Hi there, I'm Scott, and this is GreatScott Knitting. I am to you a little bit differently than I usually would come to you on my off weeks from vlogging. Usually I would have a dyeing video this weekend, and I very well might have a dyeing video this weekend because I did some dyeing a couple weeks ago. So I have some video in the can that's really ready to be edited and put out. So I'll probably do that tomorrow, and you might see something from me in terms of some dyeing that I've done. But in the meantime, it is Passover. Well, it actually is not yet Passover. It starts tonight at sundown. And so tonight is the first night of Passover. It technically, the holiday lasts for 8 nights. And so tonight is the Passover Seder. It is also, this holiday is also known as the, well, at least tonight, is known as the Feast of Unleavened Bread in Torah. So basically, Passover, for those of you who may not really follow these types of things, Passover is the celebration of the children of Abraham, the Jewish people who were enslaved in Egypt. It is the celebration, the commemoration, and the remembrance of, and in a sense also the reenactment of our gaining our freedom and leaving Egypt to be our own people. So that is what is celebrated tonight. We are commanded in Torah to remember, to tell the story, to encourage people to ask questions about what makes this night different. So tonight, things are different than they are on, say, a Shabbat meal, which is a big deal in our home, but tonight is an even bigger deal. It's such a big deal that we name the meal and we call the night the Seder. Really, Seder is a Hebrew term which actually just simply means order. And this meal commemorates the Passover meal that was eaten by the enslaved people of Egypt on the night that they gained their freedom. It's because, the angel of death was going throughout Egypt and killing all the firstborn, and the Jewish people who had marked their doors were spared, but they were told to prepare, basically pack your things, get ready to go. And in fact, when you make your bread for tonight, don't wait for it to rise, just bake it, because it's time to go. So that's what the Jewish people did. They ate standing up, they were packed, they were ready, and the next morning they basically gained their freedom. At least that's how the story goes. And so that's what we celebrate on the Seder night, is that meal and the hope of redemption and gaining our freedom and moving out. So there is a book that goes with the evening. Now, there are tons of different of these. There are some for kids. There are some that are highly decorated. I just happen to use this one that I made copies of it. It's really terrible. Broke copyright laws left and right to do this, but I can't afford a whole bunch of these at this time. So there it is. Come get me. Anyway, I use this Passover Haggadah. The Haggadah is the book that gives you the order, that helps you tell the story, because we are commanded to tell the story every year to remember. And in the telling of the story, it's not just remembering, but it's sort of a reenactment, a reliving of that experience. Even though it was thousands of years ago, technically my ancestors did not partake in this. I am the first Jewish person that I'm aware of in my family line, but my religious ancestry, if you will, is Jewish by choice. And so every year I enact this on behalf of the Jewish people, maybe that can't, as a spiritual child of Abraham, who was the original convert. So anyway, that's what we do tonight. Passover is that celebration, and so my brisket is cooking even as we speak. We'll be having some other lovely things to eat this evening as well, but it is a long evening. As you can see, it is a rather hefty service, if you will, that includes a meal. It includes dessert. It includes lots of wine, which makes dealing with all the other stuff really quite worth it. So that's what I'm up to today. But my intention over the next 8 days, probably concluding next Sunday, when the holiday comes to an end, is to share with you my Passover journey in 2021, and teaching you or telling you a little bit about the experience of Passover. So the first thing I want you to understand is before really the activities of this night and of this next week start long in the weeks before. Especially in this past week, one of the things that Jewish households do is they remove all the leavened foods from their home. Leavening means, of course, those things that make foods to rise, especially bread. So we're talking about yeast breads primarily, but we go a little overboard on that removal of what is called chametz, which is leavened foods. So it's basically anything that could ever be made into a bread of any kind is removed from the home, except for matzah. Matzah is Jewish unleavened bread. It is what we are allowed to eat as a bread during Passover. No other breads are allowed. Now, so the things that get removed from our home are things like corn, rice, wheat, so no bread, no popcorn, no corn chips, any of those types of things, those are all gone. Anything with corn syrup is also gone. So no sodas. A lot of fruit juices get axed because have you ever looked through your grocery store or even your pantry and looked at everything that has corn syrup in it today? It's ridiculous. Thank God I do most of my shopping at Aldi, and most of the things that you would consider having corn syrup in it don't when you buy them at Aldi. So that's really nice. So anyway, all those products leave our home for the week as well. So that's a lot of stuff. You start reading a lot of the labels, seeing what the ingredients are and saying, oh, corn, that's gone. Oh, that's gone. So it's a lot of stuff. So we exist along a lot of fruits, vegetables. Actually, it's probably a good thing, especially as we try to, start this process of maybe losing some of those COVID winter pounds. It's maybe a good jump start to a little bit of a diet that helps shed some of those things, so that we can get into our summer shorts. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of that journey every day as we go forward through this next week. I do want to share with you, though, today one other quick thing. And by quick, God knows how wordy I might become. But anyway, yeah. So as I am preparing my meal for tonight, and I am the cook as well as the leader of the Seder, which tonight our gathering is, of course, rather small. It's just our household, and very similar to last year, which was just our household. So because of COVID, that is the case. Normally, Jewish families like to gather with their family and friends from all over the place, both Jewish and non-Jewish, to come together to celebrate the Seder, to experience moving from slavery or captivity into freedom. We can't do that this year, again, due to the pandemic and the things that come with that. So some people are choosing to do lots of virtual gatherings through Zoom or Google Meet, all the different technological tools that are available. We're not doing that, but we are, in a sense, gathering in spirit with all of the Jewish community around the world to celebrate this night. And so next year, normally at the end of the Seder, we say next year in Jerusalem, because it's something that started to be said in the Seders that were celebrated before there was the Jewish homeland was returned. I'm not talking about, it's not going to get into Zionism or all that kind of crap anyway, but just that idea of to return to a homeland, so that we are all together again as one large Jewish family in Jerusalem, our spiritual home. So next year in Jerusalem is not just a concept of a physical hopefulness of returning, but also a spiritual hopefulness of uniting as one people. So last year and this year, many folks started saying not just next year in Jerusalem, but next year together. So so next year together we will be celebrating this night and our freedom. But anyway, other things I want to share with you tonight, other than the fact that I'm going to be doing a nightly thing throughout the Passover period, and tonight is the Seder, and I'm actually very sort of wrapped up in that activity, taking a break from it, though. So there's one other thing I want to share with you, and it does have to do with dyeing. So this is my dyeing weekend, or at least the weekend that I share dyeing experiences on my YouTube channel. So this pertains to that dyeing type of world. So I have been talking about wanting to make the leap from food color dyeing into professional acid dyes for protein fibers. And because there's a lot that goes into that. It's not just buying the dyes and getting your blank yarn and going for it. There's other stuff you technically need. You need breathing apparatus to protect yourself. You need dedicated dye equipment that will never be used for the cooking of food. So there's various things you have to prepare for. You just can't just jump into it. At least I can't. So I finally got much of what I need collected, and I have also now collected my acid dyes, or at least a small set. And so I want to share with you those things. So I put an order in to Dharma Trading Company. I'll put the link down below because they are a really good company to go with. They sell both Dharma Acid Dyes and Jacquard Acid Dyes. So great place to go. Now, so here we go. I'm going to start sharing some things with you. Now, number one, I have my breathing mask. For those of you who don't know, professional acid dyes for protein fibers come in a fine powder, and different colors are more fine than others, but either way, they can easily become airborne and stay airborne and can easily be breathed in and get into your lungs and into your nasal passages and all those types of things. It is a foreign substance. It is a chemical, and you don't want to be breathing those things in. Now, I don't know if they are known to cause any type of true, like a cancer or something like that, but you don't want foreign chemicals in your lungs. So a respirator mask is highly recommended when dealing with the dry powder. Now, once you take that dry powder and put it into water and turn it into a solution, you don't have to wear a breathing apparatus, but you do want to often wear gloves or and eye protection. So I have my breathing apparatus. So that is one thing that I have ready to go. So there's that. Now, with my Dharma order, they sent me a little freebie gift, which is always really sweet. Another thing they do carry a small selection of blank yarn, but they also carry silk items as well, like this silk kerchief. So they sent me, oh, it's not a kerchief, I'm sorry, it is actually a silk scarf. So I'm going to be doing some kind of dyeing experiment or thing with this silk scarf. Cool. It's really quite beautiful and soft and lovely, and can't wait to play with that. With some other things that I have, I also have ordered a pound of citric acid from Dharma Trading Company. So I have that. I do have citric acid, but the citric acid I have is food quality for canning. Now, I don't know if there's really any difference. I don't think there is. But either way, I have the professional stuff now. And so here are my acid dyes. Now, I bought 9 different colors, 3 primaries, and then a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, I had help in picking these out. And by help, I mean Rebecca from Ken Knits Tutorials has a set of classes that she did in conjunction with Dyer Supplier Yarn and Knit Crate. It's called Dive Into Dyeing. Knit Crate sells the subscription to that class. But her videos, she insisted that the videos that go in with those are free and available online. So I have watched those videos actually several times, and I know the colors that she is using or suggested for her dyeing class. And so I purchased those directly from Dharma Trading Company. They're cheaper than you can get them with Dyer Supplier. In fact, these half-ounce jars you can get for less than $5 directly with Dharma Trading Company. So I have the primary color of Fire Red, the primary color Bright Yellow, and the primary color Brilliant Blue. So those are my primaries. Can't wait to play with those, of course. And the nice thing about primaries, of course, you can mix them to get your tertiary orange, green, and purple, and then all the other fun colors in between that as well. And then I have 6 other colors, which are different shades and things that she suggested. So the second set, which actually coincides with the second class that she teaches, are chestnut, which is a reddish brown, Aztec gold, which is kind of a mustardy yellow, or maybe orangish yellow, and then gunmetal, which is like a deep navy, almost black, but more. It's definitely a blue, but it's a very dark blue. And then the last set are a little more out there. Hot fuchsia, which is a very pinkish, reddish, purpley thing. Turquoise, which is, kind of that blue, but bluish green, blue, greenish blue, has that turquoise look to it. And then, of course, jet black, which everybody has to have a really good black in their mix. So those are my 9 colors with my acid dye, my silk scarf, and I have my respirator mask. I'm ready to go crazy. I have a whole bunch of junk pots that I have gathered to be my dedicated dye equipment. I even bought some measuring spoons, which are very, very teeny tiny. And I have some other measuring apparatus as well, ready for me to use for this purpose. So that's the excitement for me. So I'm hoping that work over the past 2 weeks has been ridiculous. Been putting in 12-hour days, which those of you who have watched my most recent episode may have already heard. So they've been ridiculously long days. But this next week, things kind of become a bit more normal, which is very good for me. So I'll have some time, hopefully, to maybe play with those dyes and enjoy that process. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Spring is here. Yay. Definitely things are warming up. The grass is green. In fact, we just cut the grass for the first time today, or at least my nephew did. I didn't do it. I've been dehumming my house and getting it ready for Passover tonight and getting my food all together and things. So yeah. So now I need to go put together my Seder plate. I need to really kind of put the rest of my meal onto the cooking process and all that. So I will leave you with that because it is really close to almost a half an hour, which is much longer than I really expected to be going today. Anyway, so thank you for joining. Thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your busy day to share with me or to find out what I'm up to. So thank you again. May you have peace in your home and the fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Bye.